Question was, who are the most powerful organizations or individual in America today?
Hi there, and welcome to Everything Social Media, where we discuss social media, everything that's involved in it, and how we can use it to the best of our abilities. Today, we're going to have a bit of a review of Valuetainment's video of who has more power: billionaires, presidents, media giants, or universities. This is an interesting discussion, bit of old and new. Who's got the power right now? Let's review.
I think we were having this conversation. I said I want to bring it up today. The question was, who are the most powerful organizations or individual in America today? And before you guys answer,
And I'd extend this to further than just America. I'd say this is the whole world. So this is very relevant wherever we are in the world.
actually want to hear from you as well that you're watching this, and I want you to rank this. So hear me out when I'm saying this, because
And I also want you guys to note down who you think is most powerful out of billionaires, presidents, media giants, and universities. So play along.
want to hear you rank these in the comment section. Okay, so Adam, if you're ready.
Yep.
Kai, I want to hear from you as well. You were in it, so you can't play along. Luis, I want you to think about the answers here as well. Eric, you too.
I've forgotten, if
Yeah.
that matters.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now.
You told me.
I asked him a question. I said, who are the most powerful people in America today? I said, number one, the President of the United States. Okay? I just said, not in a list. I'm just saying.
Yeah, this is
One is President of the United States.
Yeah.
Very obvious one.
Second one is billionaires. Third is universities. Fourth is social media companies.
Now, what's interesting to note is the fact that the social media companies are now at least in the same conversation, without giving away who is the most powerful out of those four entities, but at least they are in that conversation. 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, that would definitely not be the case, where social media and presidential candidates even in the same conversation just wouldn't happen because it would just be irrelevant. But now we're talking about them at least on an even keel.
Fifth is mainstream media. Who's the most powerful? Let me read it again. Presidents, billionaires, universities, social media companies, or mainstream media. Once again, presidents, billionaires, social media companies, universities, or mainstream media.
I'll give you a bit of a minute to think about it. But there's interesting conversation to be had just with these five entities alone, without even having to rank them and talking about their influence on each other.
From first to last, who do you say is the most powerful to the least powerful? His answer was shocking, and I agree with him. First to last, who would you say?
I'm going to step out because I know the answer because I was
Okay,
in the
okay,
meeting, but
so
I'll have
go.
some comments later.
Okay, you go ahead. Who's from the most powerful to the least powerful?
most. I have just off the top of my head here, most powerful right now in America are social media companies.
Okay, so social media for you is the top.
That's interesting guess there.
I would put number two media.
It's interesting now that we feel the need to divide social media and media. I mean, there's lots of conversations around who actually is most responsible for influencing the public out of social media and media, because media is traditionally seen as the trustworthy entity distributing news and information. Social media, however, is a bit of a, I'm going to say the word again, meritocracy, in that everyone has the ability to distribute their own news, that whatever they feel is worthy to be distributed out to the world.
For some reason, I feel like the president, according to this list, would be last, although I would disagree with that. And I got billionaires and universities coming in at 3 and 4. And
You got
president
billionaires
last.
third. You got
Yeah.
billionaires third.
Well,
Universities fourth.
universities third.
Okay, universities
Billionaires
third,
fourth.
and then president last.
Now, universities is an interesting one, because when we talk about power, we have to define it a little bit, whether we're talking about power of influence, power of economy, so money, finances. So billionaires, obviously, they have a lot of money by the definition. But does that necessarily mean that they have influence? And when I say influence, I'm talking about the likes of influence in politics. We're sure it does, but how much? Is it more than the mainstream media, or is it more than social media, the dispersing of information that everyone is putting out? So when we talk about power and looking at specifically on this channel, we're looking at social media. We have to define what is power. What is power in the 21st century? So I think here they're talking a bit of a combination of power of influence and power of direction of society, and power, by definition, that means power of where economy is going to go. Money will flow where attention goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Presidents last. What do you say, Luis? Who's the most powerful? Eric, who's the most powerful?
In putting presidents last, this wasn't the definitive list, have you know. This was just one man's opinion, reviewing these 5 entities and how they scale in this power battle. But universities have influence and power in their own way. Yes, it can be argued that they have economic power in that they plant the seeds of where discussion goes, where innovation flows, and where our ideas and attention go. There's no secret that the academic institutions not necessarily have a political bias, but they have a philosophy, an idea, whether it be a very broad one, but the people who are show very unfavorable ideas are not invited to universities, and this becomes a very contentious subject. So by them omitting certain information, certain people, certain ideas, it means that they do have power of what is seen as the status quo, or what is the direction of, whether it be technology, whether it be politics, whether it be the other social sciences, or even medicine. So universities, it's not a coincidence that many of the innovators of our social media platforms dropped out of university. Okay, some of it is down to their enormous success, but it is also that there is a bit of a jostling with a lot of what ideas that maybe universities see as far too liberal or far too conservative. There isn't a perfect mix there. So universities do have power, and it's important for them to be in this conversation. Initially, when I saw the universities on that list, I did have to question, why would they be on that list with the likes of billionaires, social media, politics, and all alike? But I think it was a very good inclusion to have universities, because when we're talking about the likes of social media, we're talking about not just e-commerce, we're talking about ideas, and ideas really are the impetus of everything that we see: politics, economics, and everything around us. So that's a great addition that they included universities into this discussion.
So I'm kind of going that way, but I'm gonna flip the 1 and 2. Let's do media.
Mainstream media first, then
First,
social
then
media.
social
Okay.
media.
All right, cool. I like that. Eric, what?
That's an interesting guess there about traditional media being above social media. Now, I think it's important to note that traditional media also plays in the realm of social media. The likes of CNN, Fox, BBC, they're seen as traditional medias. Al Jazeera, they're seen as traditional medias. However, they do have very, very strong platforms within social media. whether we're talking about just on the internet as a whole. BBC is a massive online collection of material, news, videos, music, arts, everything that they provide through their traditional platform, meaning TV, radio, and such. But they use social media to complement what they're doing. So there is a bit of an overlap there. So I think it's unfair for us to just disregard the traditional media giants, as they have spread their wings further than the means that they were traditionally reaching people and influencing people and displaying their power.
What do you say?
I think it's social media, then it's media, then it's universities, then it's billionaires, and then there's the president.
So you guys are identical.
Yeah.
The two of you are identical. Kai, who do you have?
And he's a conservative.
I say universities or social media first, then universities, then media, then billionaires, then the president.
Hang on. So social media first, then universities,
mainstream media,
then mainstream media.
billionaires, and then president.
Okay, so here's what he said.
So get your notes out. Let's see if you're right. I have my ideas.
Got a lot of different people here, Energized with
say?
Andres, Royal Family. Ryan Lynn says MSM, social brilliance, college presidents. That's it. So MSM's first, then social media companies, then billionaires, then college and universities, then presidents for Ryan Lynn. Juan Guzman put social media and billionaires are the same thing to him. Okay. Ron Harris says Illuminati. Great. We went to a complete different direction there. But okay, I'm going to give you shout outs. All right, so here we go. Here's what he said. Number one at the top, social media companies.
I mean, you don't have to guess too hard to come to the conclusion that I would think social media platforms and the social media giants are the most influential and the most powerful entities in the world right now. And it doesn't seem that anything's going to change anytime soon. Not to say, well, in the future things won't change, but right now, during our generation, social media giants, they wield the most amount of power.
Okay.
Most powerful.
Yeah.
Most powerful
Zuck is the most powerful non-elected
in the
official.
world.
Yeah,
In
for sure.
the world.
I wouldn't disagree with that. Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook and Instagram, is the most powerful person in the world. Many people talk about which channels, when we're talking about the likes of TV or radio, which channels to go down to have the most influence on people out on the outside or people to receive it. But imagine if a few decades ago you had the ability to own the actual TV, owning the concept of TV, owning the platform of TV, owning the concept of radio, and owning the platform of radio. That kind of power is, as we've seen in a past video of mine, where Ted Cruz was not happy about the fact he felt his political party, the Republicans in America, were constrained by the power of the likes of Facebook, of the likes of Twitter, of the likes of Google. These are new age powers that the old establishment aren't used to having to answer to. Back in the past, politicians were able to disseminate whatever information they were able to get through their own traditional means. But now there are gatekeepers of this new media who are approving or disapproving or constraining what they wanted to put out. And so there is definitely a power struggle now. So let's talk more about Mark Zuckerberg. Let's listen.
No, not just not elected, he's the most powerful in the world.
Wow.
Zuck is the most powerful. If he ran for office, he dictates everything. He is the most. So
now that's a very interesting idea. Many people talk about how Mark Zuckerberg and the other players of Alphabet, who own Google and YouTube and Twitter and those platforms, how they are able to, their policies are almost able to dictate how successful a political party is able to convince the population of whatever country. And obviously that throws up many other issues when you have outside interference, alleged outside interference and such. But imagine if the owner of the biggest gatekeeper of information decides to flip it and use that engine that they have devised for their own political gain. That's an interesting one. How would opposition be able to compete if Mark Zuckerberg decided to run for office?
He said socialists first. He said universities are second. He said presidents, Congress, third, is what he put. Fourth, he put mainstream media. Fifth, he put billionaires. He says billionaires are irrelevant today.
Many people might be surprised by the idea that a billionaire is irrelevant. But I think that's a lot to do with the amount of billionaires that we have. And it depends on where that billionaire is using their resources. Obviously, Mark Zuckerberg is a billionaire. However, he uses his resources within the realms of social media, being a kingpin of the biggest social media platform in the world. So, as I said before, there are slight overlaps here. People within the university space are involved in mainstream media and such. There are overlaps. But generally, being a billionaire doesn't necessarily mean that you will wield the power of a social media platform. Because the reach that they have will be the reach within their immediate vicinity. If they don't have an engine like a Facebook, like Google, like Twitter, like whatever, Instagram, whatever platform. So many people might be surprised by the fact that billionaires don't feature right at the top. And let me try not to knock myself out, right at the top. But I would agree. And so just by that list, you can tell that they're looking on this power list, not just at the money factor, or else billionaires would be at the top just by default, but they're looking at influence. They're scaling who is the most powerful on influence, and that's it. Social media is where the influence comes from, and that influence transfers into the realms we talked about earlier: economics, politics, and social. When Facebook or any of these social media platforms shut down a topic of conversation, they're wielding power that is almost unheard of. And I'm not suggesting that it's anything sinister, but just by them being the marker of where morality, and we're talking about very big conversation here, where morality lies, and that's the field that they want you to play in. Facebook have an amount of power that is unheard of in humanity. People may argue that the likes of the Pope, they said American presidents don't have that amount of power, but the Pope, the Emperor of China, all of these people who have a large amount of people who follow their every word, don't wield the same amount of power that the social media entities have. So, with that, what do we do with this? This information, it's just there to confirm what we already know. If you're watching this channel, you're probably more than likely of the understanding that social media is a very powerful tool to use, whether it be for your own business, for your own individual pursuits. So this is an exciting time, because this means that for the first time in humanity, humans, whoever has access to social media, is on almost a level playing field to people who are politicians or who have more money than us or who have more traditional education. So social media is proven a tool to level the playing field for all of us. So it's time that all of us really learn to embrace social media and what it has to offer for us. As I said again, for your business, for your social or personal endeavors, and for your education as well. And not forgetting economics. There's money to be made through these platforms, many means, and we will talk about that in future videos. But for now, thanks for watching. And if you like this, please feel free to press the like button and subscribe, because there'll be many more videos like this coming in the future. So thank you. I've been Daniel Donaldson. This has been Everything Social Media. Until next time, take care.